Hey, welcome back to the trumpet. I'm so glad y'all could join us. Let me get my headphones on and make sure that everybody can hear me and that my voice is coming through okay. Man, this is going to be a good one today. We've got some people joining in the room and they know me. If they'll just give me a thumbs up that my voice is coming through okay and then I can start talking. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, I love it. Let me get one more. I just love that. So glad y'all are joining. These people are starting to come into the room and this is another Wednesday on the book of Jubilees. There you go. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that I'm coming through okay because I tell you what, this is just, there's no volume. What? What do you mean there's no volume? Is it? Are y'all joking me? Is the volume coming through okay? Hello? I got volume. I can hear you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I was like, man, daggum, that's always my biggest fear. And I'm sitting there going, I don't even know. Because, one, I'm deaf. So I say I'm deaf. My left ear doesn't work, and this one only works about 20%. But then again, trumpets really don't have ears, so they talk a lot. Man, this one is there's GG Six Pack, my moderator, Katie. She's going to be on here, I hope. And I've got all kinds of. There's Kate right there. That's one of my moderators, and they try to help me. They're going to pin your questions, and I don't even mind going off subject and answering your questions because I just feel good. I always like to put pictures and stuff with it. So if you ask me about what we're talking about, I'll probably have a picture to go with it. But or some of my last videos. I love you. I love you, and I pray for y'all. I tell you what, I sure do. And thank you so much for joining. If you hadn't got your study guide for chapter 12, go download that off of my bio page. And this is a good one. I don't want to get that thing too close to me because it'll make my voice pop sometimes. But if you download the study guide, go to my bio page right there, and then it's going to be on my link tree. And then if you click on the top three dots in the corner and hit view in browser, it'll let you print off the study guide. And we're getting ready to read right along with that. It's got this is where Abraham destroys his father's idols, and that's like literally just in the first verses here. But it goes on into this chapter. It's just amazing, amazing. Him destroying his idols, and then him getting the books of his fathers and studying them. And this is just a super cool course that we're going through. It's the book of Jubilees. It's a Dead Sea Scroll thing. So a lot of people were asking me, what are the Dead Sea Scrolls and are they legitimate? The Dead Sea Scrolls were over 2,000 years ago. They were put into these caves and they found them right after the Second World War. And they line up and read right along with the book of Genesis, book of Exodus. All the Old Testament documents are pretty much in there. And but right along with them, and just as many copies of the book of Genesis, and just as much as the book of Exodus, was the book of Jubilees in there. And it's called the Lesser Genesis, but all the people in the room right now know that it's the greater Genesis. It has so much more detail, and it has so many more dates and what have you. And so thank you so much for helping me hit my goals and all this stuff. The subscribers, I've got some stuff. Oh, y'all are going to trip out. My subscribers, listen, I found this book, and the pictures were 100 and something years old. I'll show you. And I got them. And I redid them for you so that they're on the public domain. But man, this is when the Sphinx is half buried in the sand. You're going to just trip out on those things. And those are going to be the subscriber stuff I was talking about. You're all going to trip out. I got some of those pictures on here right now. But we're going to jump into the book of Jubilees and start reading. These were from pictures. This picture right here is from the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. in 1492, right before the Columbus came over. They had the Spanish Inquisition or something, and they burned all the unauthorized books of the Bible. So they're going to be pinning questions and comments up there. We're going to be reading the book of Jubilees. We always get like a couple hundred people in here, and I'm just like going, man, daggum, this is so cool. And this one's going to be a trip. But I got next week, the reason that I did chapter 13 already. I already got it done. I hadn't posted it yet. Man, it goes right along with the maps. And you're talking about Easter coming up and Bethlehem. Whoo-hoo, doggy. You're going to find out right where Abraham walked right into, out of Egypt and walked into the promised land. And this is getting good. So go download that off my bio page. Let me go to my bio page, my link tree, and download this study guide number 12. And it's right there for you. And hang on, I'm going to go get some pictures of it. It's going to look like, it's going to look like that. Yeah, it's going to look like that right there. When you pull it up, that's the cover page, and that gets me sort of centered. And if you jump right over to the first page, that's just some of Abraham's idols. These were pretty wicked. And I used to put my, like what you see, the printout that you see, and then I used to highlight the things. And I got away from doing all that. I'll show you what I highlighted. You printed out clean. I want you to be able to print all of these out. And the people that are on here that have printed them out, there's 12 on there now. And if you just take this cover off and print them, you'll make a book of Jubilees. This is all 11 study guides right here. And it's just going to go right behind it. So there's chapter 11. And these are all the study guides put together. And it's just going to make a killer book of Jubilees. It's not going to be one like that you're going to find in a store because, one, you're going to print this, you're going to make this, and you're going to have marked it up. But you'll get to know this. And the book of Jubilees is cool. This is the Jubilee year. This is when we're all supposed to be forgiven of our debts. And every slave is supposed to be released. And I mean, we're just such a political climate, monetary shift and global crash. And I'm like going, the Jubilee year they're going to sound the trumpet, man. And like every man is returned to his home and forgiving up his debts. And I just hope that all happens. Man, I tell you what, we hear that trumpet, we're going to trip out. Of course, I'm the trumpet, and you're listening to it right now. And but, that's what we're going to say. I'm going to start off and start reading. And gift and tap, I certainly appreciate that. Look at that, JD. Y'all tap this thing, and it's like, gets so mad. I don't know how to people tap that thing that fast. But this is so cool to listen to Abraham talking to his father and saying, hey, man, these idols, there's nothing good about them. And his dad says, man, I'm too far into it, bro. These people will kill me if I turn away from this. You got to hear this. He knows that he's doing wrong, and he's going to just keep worshiping these idols. And he tells him right here. And Abraham ends up leaving. Let me get something to drink. I love y'all so much. And I appreciate y'all putting up with me. I want y'all to know all these things go on YouTube. So tomorrow I'll put all this on YouTube. And anything ever happened to this, I'm on YouTube. I'll go live on YouTube. We'll just pick that up on Wednesday. So you just go right there. If you ever need a ripcord and pull and go, hey, this thing's not here. Boom, you go to YouTube. And I'll be there. Jubilees 12, Abraham destroys Terah, his father's idols, right there at the top, and it starts tearing it up. And it came to pass in the 6th week, in the 7th year thereof, 1904 a.m., that Abram said to Terah, his father, saying, Father, did you study under Israel Institute of Biblical Studies? You know what? I did study under the Israel Institute of Biblical Studies. They paid me to do a commercial for them. And they gave me the course, and I took it, and I learned it, learned to speak a lot of things in Hebrew, and it caused me to ask the question in Hebrew. I don't work with them anymore. But the last paragraph in this thing says, and I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of the creation. And this is the verse before it. And Yahweh Almighty, you know what? I'll put that page up there for you. I don't, I, I wouldn't. I don't honestly think I would pay what they charged. It was expensive, but then again, I learned it. I didn't learn it. I can't speak it, but I know enough about it, and I should have applied myself better. I'll be truthful about that. But I can see it, and I know where the letters are, and I actually got pretty fluent at it, but I don't practice it. But right here, man, it says, Yahweh Almighty said, open his mouth and his ears that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which has been revealed. For it had ceased from the mouths of all, the children of men from the day of overthrow of Babel. Okay, so that's page 3 that we're coming up to. And it's funny that you asked me that. I think that I learned a lot about that. I learned to read backwards and forwards. And there's, man, that made me think. There's something about going backwards. And then you read in Hebrew, man, you read backwards. And this old Bible that I can take these off because I'm not listening to you. But I have this old Hebrew Bible. Stop it. I have this old Hebrew Bible, and you have to open it backwards. Right there. I'm going to say it. The first words that it says in Genesis. Tell me about the additionals. It talks about the murmuring deep. And his face was over the murmuring deep. Oh my gosh, just crazy. There it is. You know what? You have to literally, this is probably going to turn out correctly. You got to open it backwards right here. It's not written backwards, but it reads like one. It reads backwards. So this Hebrew, let me read this first line, and let me tell you this old Hebrew Bible, and it's written in Hebrew right there, and then it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, but the earth was desolate and void and dark, and darkness was upon the face of the murmuring deep, and a spirit of God. Oh man. Dude, let me read that over again because it says, and I'm very picky on words, man. This is Genesis 1 out of an antique Hebrew Bible that I bought off of eBay, and you have to read it backwards, and it's got the words in Hebrew right there, and then I'm reading that. And you see where it says murmuring? Right there in Genesis, in the murmuring deep. It's just deep. I tell you what, and when I took this... I got a translator pen. This will just fry your egg if this thing will turn on. It's saying it's going to turn on. Every time I've ever scanned the Hebrew, it says something worse than the murmuring deep, man. It's because when you talk about the murmuring deep, let me read that again for you while this thing boots up. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, but the earth was desolate and void, and darkness was upon the face of the murmuring deep, and a spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, be there light, and a light was. And God saw the light, and it was good. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This thing, you know what? I may not have hooked it up to my Wi-Fi or whatever, so it may just... And I'm not going to get off subject with that. That book is super cool. And one day I'll go on live and I'll just read that book to you. Let me get back on subject because you know what I'm supposed to. And I'm supposed to do that. And I've got to touch that button. And then I got to go right up here. And we're going to go this one. All right. Hey, are y'all ready? Everything. The murmuring deep. I'm going to tell you something, man. Gosh, I have got, oh, look, it's a squirrel, whatever that is. I can go, because when you start talking about the murmuring deep, and that's like the fallen angels, and all of that was like, let us make them in our image. Okay, well, y'all are the dudes. His face was over the abyss. It was over the darkness. It was over the face of the waters. Get that, man. It was over the face. He was over the face of the waters. And that said murmuring deep. But remember, in the New Jerusalem, there is no more sea. All right. And Revelation 22 in the New Jerusalem, there's no more sea. So know that his face, in the beginning, his face was over the murmuring deep, the abyss, the waters. And his face was over the waters. And there is no more waters in the New Jerusalem, in the end of this. And I saw there was a new heaven and a new earth, for the new old heaven and earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. That's like Revelation 21 or something. We got 333 people in the room. Ha, ha, ha! I love it. That's just so awesome. Come on, man, let's read this stuff, because I read that first line, and then I went to Texas and back down the street. And there's no more sea. Yeah, that's Revelation 21. In the first line, I saw the earth, and the earth was no more, for it had passed away, and there was no more sea. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a big one. And, the very first thing was his face was over the waters. And then that old Hebrew Bible says his face was over the murmuring deep. So I think that's sin. And in Revelations 6, it says, in the waters where the horse sitteth were peoples and nations and tongues. So the water is where the beast comes out of the water. And here we go down the rabbit hole. That's a squirrel over there. And it is. The beast comes out of the water, and that's exactly what happens. There's no more sea. All right, yeah, I'll have to pin comments that are relative to this, and I have to read more than one sentence before I go off on a tangent. We'll just start right there, number 2. And he said, behold, here I am, my son. And he said, what help and profit have we from those idols which you do worship, and before which you do bow yourself? For there is no spirit in them, for they are dumb forms and are misleading of heart. Worship them not. Worship Yahweh, the sovereign ruler of heaven, who causes the rain and the dew to descend on the earth, and does everything upon the earth, and has created everything by his word. And all life is from before his face. That's right. Everything is from before his face and spoken to existence. And I put these etchings and pictures in here because I want you to have these. These would be over 100 years old. And whenever you make your little Bible and all that stuff, not your little Bible, Book of Jubilees, it's really cool because this has all the laws and all about the Sabbath. It's so much about the Sabbath. If you want to skip to the last chapter of the Book of Jubilees, and all of my work is available on my thing, but if you skip to the last chapter of the Book of Jubilees, it just tells you better do the Sabbath, you better do the Sabbath. So Wednesdays is why I do this class. And it's so that on Friday, I can get my bread and my little bit of wine. And on Saturday, I eat that. I gather twice as much on Friday, and then I take that day Saturday. But last Saturday, I got on, and I read this antique Bible. You know what? I'll just get off subject again. I'm going to probably do it again because that was so much fun, man. We stayed on. Jill was like, you've been on almost 3 hours, and we had hundreds of people in the room. So thank you so much for all of y'all. Thank you for all the gifts. I'm answering the pinned comments. I'm so happy about that. And Jill helps me, and so does Katie. Y'all are sweethearts. All right, I got to keep reading. I would read off of that, but what? No. Why do you worship things that have no spirit in them? For they are the works of hands. And on your shoulders do you bear them. Oh, man, they carry them around like on this thing. And on your shoulders do you bear them. And you have no help from them. But they are a great cause of shame to those who make them, and a misleading of the heart to those who worship them. Worship them not. Okay, so right there. Worship them not. I love this, man. And his father said to him, I also know it, my son. But what shall I do with a people who have made me to serve before them. Oh my gosh. And if I tell them the truth, they will slay me, for their soul cleaves to them, to worship them, and to honor them. Keep silent, my son, lest they slay you. And these words he spoke to his two brothers, and they were angry, and he kept silent. Abraham confronted his father, said, you're worshiping a bunch of idols. You carry them around on your shoulders in your little parades. And all of a sudden, he says, if I tell him, I know. I also know. That's why I underline it. He knew. And then he's leading them astray. They'll kill me. If I tell them, oh man, this is all bull. Woohoo! He should have. If you know the truth, man, and you're leading somebody, you better tell them, you better just keep telling them the truth. I'm going to tell you something. I learn every day, so don't think that I have this knowledge and I'm holding on to it and I dispense it when I feel like you're ready. If you see me make a TikTok, I learned that the day or so before. It takes me about 3 hours to make a couple of minute TikTok, but I just learned that. I didn't have that, and man, I go down in between those days. I've lived in these rabbit holes and just finding out, like the book of Hebrews, who the author is. I know that. I know who the author is. The book of Hebrews. So cool. I love y'all. Thank you. I get questions. Would God consider TikTok an idol? You know what? If you sit there and you just pay that much attention to it, and a lot of people do, a lot of things are idol, man. Yeah. I don't want to, I've been blessed to given this platform. I was literally told by God to go do a TikTok, and I did. And, I've been very blessed. Could I say some things? I could, but I would hate to limit my reach to talk to you and to tell you these things. And I would rather just walk down this road. A lot of times I just, tell people, hey, I just read that out of the Bible. I put it behind me. It's not like I'm coming up with some type of theory. This is the book of Jubilees. Let me get my head out of the way, and I'm going to go right down to this last couple of pieces right here. Can you see it? And the 40th Jubilee in the second week, in the 7th year thereof, 1925, after man, that's what that means, after man was invented, Abram took to himself a wife, and her name was Sarah, and the daughter of his father, and she became his wife. And Haran, his brother, took to himself a wife in the 3rd year of the 3rd week, 1928 a.m., and she bare him a son, and in the 7th week of this year called himself Lot. And Nair, his brother, took to himself a wife. The reason that I wanted to buzz right through that, you're talking about Abraham and his brother, and let me put this up. My eyes are terrible. That's why I don't read off of that. Y'all can probably see that. Screenshot that if you want to. You go download this all in this thing. It's as big as a sheet of paper if you download it off of my link tree. But Abraham is right there. Abram. And then he turns into Abraham. And these are his children. And all these maps and all are in this Bible. And it's literally me taking them off of this big old chart. Anyway, I'll see it. 20 foot long. I take those pictures and I take the other pictures out of my Bible and I put them together for you. And, oh man, you know what? I get to start using these. I just made that. Look at the trumpet. Oh, it tells you, we're going to go to the next page in just a second. And, that's the first page. We're going to go to the next page. These are some of the things I've been working on, okay? And these pictures, I zoom in a little bit. It tells us, we're talking about Hebron and all, and then let me get off that one. Boring. I say, boy, this is like the Garden of Eden. That I love that. That they think they may think that they're in the Garden of Eden right there. The Garden of Eden, dude, right there. Bah, it is garden right there. That's in Babylon somewhere, I think. And then look at this one. It says the trumpet. That's not the trumpet. That is that dude, Ramses the Second. And they said they found that thing in mud. You can read it and all that stuff. I rewrote all of that. I had to take those pictures out of the public and rewrite all the information on it. And that's why I put my name on it and all that stuff. But all of my subscribers, if you're a subscriber of mine, I'm getting ready to upload this first 7 pictures. And man, they are like you've never seen before. We'll go over them at the end of class in a little bit. But like look how full the thing is. And it says it's over a Narcopolis. Right there, it stands at an eternal guardian over the necropolis. Right, it's there. There's an entrance to a tomb. Ah, that's just so nuts. That book is so crazy. I love that. I love it. Where are we at? We're right here. This is Abraham whack-a-doodling those idols right there. That's his dad's idols. And I'm going to start reading right up there and take a sip of water. Thank you so much for everybody being in the room. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Let's help fill up this gift. Please click them. Tell me when I need to reset my goals and what have you. And my subscribers, if y'all are my subscribers, there's the Melchizedek scroll is only for my subscribers. If you become a subscriber, I turn the camera off. Take a page. If you become a subscriber, I've got this Melchizedek scroll locked up. Coming up with Christmas, Easter, and I show you how it compares through the Bible and the Bible verses that back that up. One thing that is on my page is the book of Hebrews, and I did this with speaking in Psalms. I'll bring up a picture of this in just a second. And man, you can just see right here. This is where God is speaking in Psalms. And it's just, he's actually talking in Psalms. Let me put that up. I love that so much because that's who's speaking in the book of Psalms. Before I get back to Abraham. I love it. I love it. I love it. I saw this place today. That's a Mormon place, man. That's in Denmark. Jehovah Witness in the Denmark in Heimen. That's the eye looking at you. I see you. I see you. Crazy. What's that? Oh, quit. Wow. That's a King James. He authorized that. Look, it's a unicorn playing a harp. Hey, look, a squirrel. What was that? I don't even know what I was talking about. So crazy. I'm old. Oh, I was going to try to find that book of Hebrews. It's right there. Better copy of it. Thank you for putting up with me. I made it squeeze to fit. Right there. Look at some of these things, how it says, the comments are sort of in my way, so I can't read it. But this is, you don't have to be a subscriber. Go to my page. This is chapter 1 of the book of Hebrews. People want to know who's the author. God speaking. Nobody knows who the author is. There's one person in history that's ever spoken like that right there. It's Jesus Christ. And he talked in Scripture, and you can just see how that's like half of it. 333, there's 333 people in the room, and that is exactly how many people we need in here because, you know, the 300 are the ones that ended up lapping water like a dog, and they kept their eye on the target. And that's reset the live goal. And they kept their eye on the target. And that's the ones that Gideon got told to take those 300 people that didn't take their eye off the target and drank water and lapped it like a dog and proceed forward with them. And man, he got with 300 people and defeated this huge army. You couldn't even count them. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to reset a live goal, but I'm going to. Y'all look at that. Ooh, y'all take a picture of that. But you can go to my bio page and download that. It says reset a live goal. I don't know how to launch anything like that. Oh my gosh, no. Start a new live goal. You know what? I would love to start a new goal. There's a goal. I'm just going to say, I don't even know. I hate having to work this. You know, they say reset, and I just can't. It's hard for me to keep my stuff on topic. And if y'all just know me, it's hard. I want my favorites. All right, that one. Thank you so much for the gifts. I'm going to go back and start reading my lesson again, and so that I don't get too distracted. That's going to be right in this one. There, I am. All right. Y'all are with me. And believe me, we've only been on here for a little while, and I've already gone so far off topic. But I love that. If there's any questions or comments, let me, if there's a live goal to complete, we can help fill this gallery. Just hit those things, because I don't know how to fill that. Set live goal. Yeah, I gotta read. And I'm still coming through okay. Voice is doing good. I hope I'm staying on point. Let me know if y'all got any questions. Ask them, and I'm going to stop at the end of almost like every page. And, coming through good. Man, thank you so much. I really do enjoy doing this Wednesday. Me and Joe look forward to it. You can see where he burned all these places, and burned it. It says it right here, too. And burned the house. And in the 6th year, in the life of Abram, that is, in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, 1936, after man, Abram arose by night and burned the house of idols. And he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. That's it smoking back there. And they arose in the night and sought to save their gods from the midst of the fire. And Haran hastened to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burnt in the fire, and he died in Ur of Chaldees before Terah his father, and they buried him in Ur of Chaldees. Right there. So, Abraham's brother, that's where he picks up Lot, and how he gets tagged with Lot. And Terah, right here. And Terah went forth from Ur of Chaldees, and he and his sons, to go into the land of Lebanon. Now, that's way up in the north of what is Canaan or Israel, or I'm just going to say it, Palestine, Canaan. And going into the land of Lebanon and into the land of Canaan, and he dwelt in the land of Haran. And Abram dwelt with Terah, his father, in Haran for 2 weeks of years. I would jump off of this, but I have a map that's going to be in those pictures, and it shows where Haran and Hebron, and it shows how they're on like mountaintops and Bethlehem, and they're all like in a row. And understand that like these places, Jerusalem, where they're headed to, it wasn't always like the Bible capital of the world, man. It was the Philistines occupied that, and Goliath, and they occupied Bethlehem, and they occupied these two areas during the time of David. So just know that. Everybody speaks from the heart. Everybody speak. Jesus Christ came into the flesh of the heart of purity, right, and now escaped. Well, okay. Jesus did. He came in. Oh, man, those are cool. Thank you so much for the gifts. And I love those cool airplanes and stuff like that. I keep reading. And in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, 1951, Abraham sat up throughout the night on the new month of the 7th month to observe the stars from the evening to morning. in order to see what would be the character of the year with regard to the rains. And he was alone as he sat and observed. And a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars and the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of Yahweh. Why do I search them out? Let me read that again. I put a little box around that one right there just for that reason. And a word came into his heart, and he said, all the signs of the stars and all the signs of the moon and of the sun are all in the hand of Yahweh. Why do I search them out? Wow. That's almost like what he said to Job in the book. It's like, hey, why do you ask, what shape the earth is? And people go, he told him, he said, where were you when I was holding back the sea or the winds or the rain or, when I put the foundations of the earth, where were you? Have you ever backed up and even looked? And people ask me, what shape the earth is. And I don't know. I've never backed up and looked at it. And I don't even know anybody that has. People say, it's on the foundations. I'm like going, well, what are the foundations on? and I don't think it's round and spinning around. I just throw all the stuff off of it, It's got to be a realm. It's a kingdom. It's the king's realm. And I just really don't know what shape it is. And I don't know what that gooey stuff is inside of an acorn. And I don't know how to make a blade of grass. So I don't get stuck on how the whole world is shaped and works and all that stuff and how the wind blows, because we haven't even figured out a blade of grass yet. So I wouldn't get too hung up on that. I think it'd take you out of season right there. Let me turn this up a little bit and get my head out the way. If he desires, he calls. Oh, I got a question. Good. Everybody, I love how you say Yahweh. I don't know how to say. I can't say. I say Yahweh. The Bible says Jesus. This says Yahweh, and then you see a lot of times where it's YHWH, and that's that breath. That's it. That's it. That's the word. It's such a cool word that you can't even say it, and you're not supposed to be able to say it. And for us to give him a title or even an acronym or any of these things is uncool, and they didn't do it. Yeah, it was. And I think it was a word that you weren't even supposed to say. I think it was a breath, and everybody respected that. But it's hard to teach when everybody's not on that same page. And Israel and all those people back in that day, they quite fell out of that. So just know that that's who God is. He is the breath of life, and who you calling Father. I'm probably halfway into those comments, so I'm sorry. Should I keep reading? If he desires, he causes it to rain. If he desires, I'm right there. If he desires, he causes it to rain morning and evening. And if he desires, he withholds it. And all things are in his hands. And he prayed that night and said, my sovereign ruler, Yahweh, Most High, you alone are my sovereign ruler, and you and your domain have I chosen. And you have created all things, and all things that are the works of your hands. Right there. And I'll read this last sentence. I'll just move my head up. I have zero problem. There's no conflict in this in the Holy Bible. This is almost Genesis chapter 12. I mean, you can almost get right. This almost reads right along with Genesis. Genesis has 50 chapters. Jubilees has 50 chapters. But Jubilees covers Genesis and about half of the book of Exodus, and it reads word for word. It's just got names and receipts like, who Cain and Abel's sisters were. Let me read this last sentence right here. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have dominion over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from you, my sovereign ruler, and establish you, me, and my seed forever, that we may not go astray from henceforth and forevermore. That was me getting out of the way, and I appreciate all of y'all, sticking with me in these things. I'll get to a prettier picture. Let me get one. Because, unless you've got lots of color and traction with these things, a lot of people won't read it. I got a lot of traction on the Astana electric car company, and it had this picture of the devil and holding this electric car in his hands. And, just hundreds of thousands of people hit that. And, it's almost like a clickbait type thing where you get a wider market. This right here, and having 300 people, if 300 people clicked on this and like this, that would be just fine with me. That would be absolutely fine with me, because this is very important, and not a lot of people. This is not the right wide road. This is the very thin road. The people that are coming here on Wednesdays, we're walking a much thinner path and learning something that's just, I find it very useful. I see the comments seem to be very useful, and I hope that y'all are realizing the work that I'm putting into this. And I haven't seen anything, and if y'all have read ahead of me, if y'all see anything that looks like, I haven't seen anything that sticks out to me that differs this from the book of Genesis almost. Nah, that's right. Well, I certainly appreciate all of y'all's gifts. This is probably one of the better pages right here, because it talks about the original language since the Tower of Babel right there. And I just can't wait to get to that piece. So, 300 people in the room. It's amazing. And he said, shall I return unto your Chaldees who seek my face, that I may return to them? And am I to remain here in this place? The right path before you prosper in the hands of your servant, that he may fulfill it, that I may not walk in the deceitfulness of my heart. O Yahweh, my sovereign ruler. I'm sorry I stumbled through that. I was trying to swallow. And he made an end of speaking and praying, and behold, the word of Yahweh was sent to him through me, saying, get ye up from your country, and from your kindred, and from the house of your father, unto the land which I shall show you, and I shall make you a great and numerous nation. Now, God is speaking to him, Yahweh is speaking to him, and he tells him to get up and go into this country. And he does. Anytime Abraham's told to go do something, he does it. And, they say, go sacrifice your son. That's coming up in like 2 more chapters. And he's like, man, I hate that for you. I'd hate to be put in that position. Imagine that, I'm 60 years old and I have grandchildren, and I just couldn't imagine. But your faith in the Lord is what you need to understand, and he's always had me, and he's always had me, and I'm glad that I'm smart enough to at least have him back and to listen for that knock on the door, and I got to hear it. And that wasn't but a few years ago, and I started, my journey, I say maybe 7 years ago, and I started my super journey, and I've come a long way. And, I remember when I used to say, man, I wish I knew Scripture. I wish I could talk back with the people in the church, and I'd be even scared to have a conversation with them because they'd say, oh, Mark 3:32, and I don't even know what that is. So I just know what I've read, and I know what I've been told, and I know what I've read is different than what I've been told. So I used to love to listen to stories because I can't read good, I don't have good comprehension, and I can paint when people are reading to me. I get to paint, and the pictures, and I get to pick it up and all. And whenever I read it for myself, it's hard because I have to pick the colors, and then I have to paint it. And I know that may sound like a crazy way to describe lack of comprehension. But when I read it and read it and read it over and over and over again, which I have to because of my comprehension, then I actually realize what color paint I'm putting my hand on. And I'm like going, man, this don't match none of that I've heard. You know, now that I'm reading this and I really don't understand it, so I'm having to read it like 5 times, and I'm realizing that I shouldn't grab that color. I should have grabbed this color. And man, and if you read the verses above and the verses below, it tells you that this guy he's sort of angry or whatever, and it sets a whole different context to listening to it. And so as I read this to you, I try to read it and I try to put stories behind it, but I really want you to read that for yourself. And if you don't understand it at first, that's totally cool, because, I mean, you know, if you read like the playbook for some special team or something like that and you understood it exactly on the first time, you're miraculous. And so to be lost and to ask questions is working in him. And when he returns, that's what you want to be found doing, is working in him and just asking these questions and watching these shows and reading these little pamphlets and getting the stuff, and you'll get it. I mean, you mess it up enough. I always tell my son, let's go mess that up a couple of times so that we'll get it right in a little bit. And just do that. That's how I get it. I always do people's roof or something. I start on the back until I figured out what I was doing and get around to the front. That way I look good. And, there. Y'all know how to put a roof on now, don't you? And he said, get up from your country. I'll bless you and make your name. And I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be blessed in all the earth, and in your shall all the families of earth be blessed. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you. And I will be a sovereign ruler to you and your son and your son's son, and to all your seed. Fear not, from henceforth and unto all generations and of the earth, I am Yahweh, your sovereign ruler. And Yahweh Almighty said, open his mouth and his ears, that he may hear and speak with his mouth with the language which has been revealed, for it had ceased from the mouths of the children of men from the day of overthrow of Babel. So I'm sorry that y'all have to look at the top of my head, but that's just the only way that I can read this. And I will get up here and we'll read the rest of this. But I love the way that this reads, man. This is the book of Genesis, and it's the way that I want to read it. It's the book of Jubilees. This is the Jubilee year. If you're just now joining us, go to my bio page, click on my link tree, and print out this study guide, and you read right along with us, and make your notes and all that stuff. We're on study guide number 12, and there's all kinds of cool things in there. I'm going to get over to here and I'll answer some questions. And thank you so much for all of the gifts. Y'all are amazing. It tells me all this feedback and stuff. And it's sad that the adults believe in this religious dogma. Whoa. It's sad that adults believe in religious dogma nonsense and imaginary myths without evidence. What? You know, I don't even. Why would you say that? Half of the things that they found, all of these things right here, they found them because of the Bible. All of the cities of Babylon and all of the places along the rivers of the Jordan and all of that. They found all of that because of the Bible. Hebron, all of those places as it travels. And just the proof. But, you know, the Romans documented the crucifixion of Jesus. And there's a lot of documentation to the crucifixion of Jesus. And, you know, if you say this religious dogma, well, we all know that there was a guy named Jesus. And while he was on the cross, he was quoting the 22nd Psalm, saying, my God, why have thou forsaken me? And while he was doing that, the Romans went up there and stuffed a sponge in his mouth and to keep him from saying that. And thank you so much for the gifts. And the fact that they tried to stop him because the 22nd Psalm goes on to say, Easter coming up, my God, why have thou forsaken me? For the dogs encircle me. They have pierced my hands. They pierced my feet. They cast lots for my cloak. And I mean, this was shown to King David. This was shown to King David 1,000 years before. And King David wrote it down in the Psalms, which were dated 1,000 years before. So, there you are. They're all unfounded claims. No, they're not unfounded claims whatsoever. But, you know, I don't cast a lot of swine pearls to the swine, and I don't let you bother me that much. You know, I'm sure you read something that jives with what you think, and it's probably some type of pagan thing, and then you'll synchronize with it, and you go, yeah, man, that's what I think. And I'm like, let me show you something. I'll show you. Look at a map. I mean, if you're good with like history and map and all that stuff, let me show you that we're talking about Abraham, and he's right here. This is Abraham, and we're going towards me and you and Jesus Christ and all. That's this way. All right? So just know that here's Abraham, and here's when they feel like the pyramids were built. Okay? All right? And the pagan stuff that you're looking at is way over here, starting to come into place. This is where Athens was created. Athens, Greece, is started right here. And right down here, this is where Athens was first started. So all of your gods and your myths and all of that stuff, they're starting right here. And this is about 500 years after. So, I mean, you're saying these are all the myths. They found all these things. They found all these things right here. These people existed. Their names are all carved in stone. And, you know, you're over here in Athens talking about these pagan gods when they were created. And that's just like 600 years ago after Abraham. So get that. There. All right, there, I did it. I went completely off subject. Emerald tablets. Go. I'm sorry. That just, you know, people say things like that. I don't believe in any of these preachers that fly around in these big jets and all that stuff, and sorry for those people, but don't think Jesus is a scam or a fakeity or any of that stuff. He's Jesus Christ knocked on a door at 3 o'clock in the morning one morning for me. And I was asking for answers, and I went to a website, and, you know, timing, I guess, is everything. And I went to this website, and it said, if you hear the knock on the door and you answer it, and literally it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and the door knock, clears a bell. My chocolate lab, Kona, barked at the door when it knocked, and I couldn't believe it. I was home by myself, and I got up and walked to the front door and opened the door, and my dog's tail was wagging. And I think Kona saw Jesus. And, you know, I don't need anybody to tell me. That's all based off of fact and all that stuff. He came into my life, and he answered, no, I'm not Catholic, and I don't believe in it. He came into my life, and I'm not a religion. I'm not a Baptist or a Catholic or a Protestant or any of that stuff, man. I am a Christian, and my church is in anytime two or more gather in the name of the Lord, there he is in their midst. So right now, he's in this room. And you just need to know we've entertained angels before and not even known it. It says that in the book. And Uh, I appreciate that. But I talk to those people sometimes, and they get so lost, and they don't realize that these are all truths and these historical facts and these things that are found in the Bible and what's etched in stone in Hebrew, and they just don't know what time they're talking about. They come up against these holidays all the time and tell you these are all pagan rituals. Man, you pagans were like 600 years after they started the Feast of Fruits with Abraham, so I don't know how the pagans, if they were copying somebody, they come along with Athens, Greece, and all them, and 2000 BC. They're just afterwards. They're not open yet. All right, I got to read. You know what? I got a little bit off. I don't got any questions, so I'm going to keep on going with the last three things right here. We're cooking right through this because the last thing is a big chart, a couple of sentences. And I opened his mouth and his ears and his lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the tongue of creation. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Moses wrote this book, and we realize that Moses wrote this book. You have a soft heart of Jesus. I don't have any nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. Sorry. Who's talking is might be Moses talking because he's the one that wrote this book on Mount Sinai. I got a picture of that book, and he took the books of his father, and they were written in Hebrew, and he transcribed them. Stop it. Man, just with the crucifixion happening, and I just think what he went through, man. And then to get up there and say to those priests of Scripture that they had been, you sing the Psalms. They were sing, David would play, they would sing the Psalms so everybody would remember them. And he was singing that song. And man, y'all are making me cry, and then my nose runs, and then I can't talk. Well, there you go. I'm sorry. But y'all said I have a soft heart. I do. Because we got to get this right. And, man, the smartest things I've ever heard come out of people that I never expected to come out of their mouth, man. So, you never know when you're talking to an angel, man. You never know. And he took the books of his fathers, and these were written in Hebrew. Okay, his father was, the idol guy. They were written in Hebrew. And he transcribed them, and he began from henceforth to study them, and made them known to him, which he could not understand, and he studied them during the 6 rainy months. And him studying these during the rainy months, and what do those books have in them, I don't know. But, he studied the moon and the stars for just a little bit. We just read that. And he said, why would I even do this? Because I can't control the rain. I can't control the stars. I can't control the sun. And that's when those people, they worship the sun and what have you, and they're just a little lost. What do you think about the book of Mary Magdalene? I think it's pretty cool. I haven't really found one that is I've synced up with yet. The book of Melchizedek, I'm going to tell you something. That's in my subscriber only, and I'm changing pages, so I could answer some questions right there. If y'all have any questions about that. This is that chart that I held up. And the book of Melchizedek, I'm going to tell you something. When you start reading the scroll, the last thing in it, and it's when I got this, you see all the commas and dashes and marks that are in it. It was like they were. It was like they were trying to mess it up, and I had to go through and like make this out of it. But I got all the words and all the scriptures that go to it, and then I put into it the other scriptures so that you could see it. All right, you know what? I'm going to get to this last page of this thing. Oh, wow. I get so lost reading. You want to read some of this book that gosh, what is this stuff? I love these things right here, man. Dude's climbing on the pyramids. That's going to be in that subscription stuff. And if you read the stories, it tells about how it takes 30 minutes to go to the top, and there's an area like 35 foot by 35 foot at the top of the pyramid. That's if you're a subscriber, they're going to be in there. I want them to have that. When I start putting the Bible things together, I'm going to paste them all through it. But those are real cool. Those are some of the best pictures, and they're from like 1890 something. I love these pictures. Things. The pyramid. This is the pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and it was a tour guide stopped to run up that thing. Look at this. They found that in the mud in the river. I'm going. Garden of Eden, right there. Stop it. Garden of Eden. Babylon. Oh, you know what, man? This is that map. That map. This is cool, man. That's like Hebron, and then that's number 2. Bethlehem. 1 is Hebron. That's Bethlehem. That's got to be Jerusalem. 3, Mount of Olives, and then Jerusalem right across from each other. So understand, like, this is where Abraham came up out of Egypt, and it bound. And again, these are from the 1800s, late 1800s, and I just got them. I did a lot of work on these. Capernaum, 19. Shows all the old cities, but you can see how those rivers and the things all run into the Dead Sea. See, that's that Jordan Valley Rift, and that shows, right there, man, that's Mount Hermon and Dan. Dan is right by Mount Hermon, because Dan, those were the bad people, and they were right there. It says that Mount Hermon and Dan. Focus, Greg. I'm going. I told you. It was the last page. I will. I'm not talking to anybody. I talk to myself, and I try not to answer. And Terah, his father, said to him, "Go in shalom. May the eternal Yahweh make your path straight, and Yahweh be with you and protect you from all evil, and grant you free, unmerited pardon." Oh, I got to do my picture. I did it successfully. And grant you free. We're right there. And grant you free, unmerited pardon, mercy, and favor before those who see you. And may none of the children of men have power over you to harm you. Go in shalom. And if you see a land pleasant to your eyes to dwell in, then arise and take me to you, and take Lot with you, the son of Haran, your brother, as your own son. Yahweh be with you. And Nahor, your brother, leave with me till you return in shalom, and we will go with you all together. All right, so That's, hey, your brother died in the fire that you started and that nobody knows, and that you burned up my idols. And so take your brother's son Lot with you. And it goes on in this chapter 13. The next chapter is amazing, and it starts talking about him going into Hebron, which is right there. So Abraham is in Lebanon right there, and he's coming down, and he goes into Hebron, and talks about him going all through Bethel and all of the stuff. He builds these altars there. That's just so cool. I can't wait to go over that with you. But we made it to the end of that lesson. I'll go back to there. And if y'all got any questions about this book of Jubilees, about this particular chapter 12, and destroying his idols, I can't believe they let that go on. My name is Ezekiel. I think that's cool. My name is Greg, actually. So it means messenger, which I didn't know that until I was like way into being the Ezekiel 33:3 guy. And I don't know how all that ended up being actually blowing the trumpet and doing what I do. I can't invite any guest on. I certainly would, but I just don't, because it's hard to control. I'm Lisa, which means oath to God. There you go. And the money machine. Do you believe in your own heart? Hold on. Let me see what I believe in my own heart. Do you believe in your own heart? This is the last Jubilee. Well, I can tell you what I do believe in my own heart. That a Jubilee is that there's a 50-year period that they separate these. It's like 49 years, and the Jubilee is through the 49th year, making it like a 50. That's why this book has 50 books in it, and that's why Genesis has 50 books in it. That's a Jubilee. And this is the Jubilee year. And the Pope, I don't believe one thing that the Pope does, but there has been, since Jesus Christ was crucified, 2,000 years. And 2,000 years, it says that in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, and it says the first resurrection is 1,000 years he chained away. And then he who is affected by the first resurrection is not affected by the second death. And that second death is 1,000 years. It's been 2,000 years since the crucifixion of Christ and him, quote, locking the devil away. And that's happened. But what's weird, let me take the camera off. Let me take this thing off. What's weird is the number 40. 40 is bad. 40 days, 40 nights. 40, we've been 40 Jubilees, 2,000 years, 40, 50-year periods since Christ was crucified. And things that happen in 40 are bad. And Saul reigned for 40 years, David reigned for 40 years, and Solomon reigned for 40 years. 40. 40, not that baby's bad or anything, a lot of things are 40, man. They wandered the desert 40 days and 40 nights. So we have been 40 Jubilees. We have been 40 Jubilees away from the crucifixion of Christ, where he locked the devil away for 2,000 years, and 40 Jubilees is 2,000 years. Now, no man knows with the day or the hour when God, Jesus, will return. But it does say when the devil will be released after the second death. And that's something that you can sort of, if you know when Jesus Christ was crucified. Of course, the calendar's been messed up for a long time, and we don't really know what day it is. So I would be on your P's and Q's. My gut feeling is that we have been 2,000 years away from Jesus Christ's crucifixion, which I know in Revelation 20, he descended into earth and locked away the devil for 2,000 years. And I'm like, that smells like now. When he is released, I understand there's probably, quite the tribulation. And, man, it just seemed like the global market and everything getting ready to go, pow, and break. And so that's where I'm at with that. He needs two. I need 2 more subscribers, and that will allow me to give somebody. I probably get to give more subscriptions away. Gigi runs all that stuff. It's so great to reach those goals, and thank you so much, my subscribers. If you click on my bio page and click on the subscribe button, there's going to be 2 files. There's 1 locked file right now, and it is the scroll of Melchizedek. And I broke this whole thing down and did all this work. I want to give it away. But that roll of Melchizedek right there, and when you're a subscriber, you can go to my comments page and it'll tell you what the code is to unlock that lock. But what I'm getting ready to put in there is this, and these are just a trip. This is too much. And there's about 50 of these. And this is the first 7. So I'm going to go right there. These are the first 7. And my subscribers are going to be updating these. I did all of these pictures and reposted them, put my name in them, and then I redid this text for you. And my subscribers can come download these plates and print these out. And these have all the historical pictures of the Bible in great detail, old. And I took them with my iPhone, so they're in 4K. Too, so they're pretty good. You can zoom into them. But then again, the old photography is sort of limited as well. But this is the second plate, and it's the Garden of Eden. And no, I don't go, that's not the Garden of Eden. I know there's be an angel there with a sword and all that stuff. But it's just funny that this is 1890s. This is 1890, and they're overlooking the Tigris and the Euphrates area and that whole river delta in Babylon. Garden described Babylonian, the plain of Babylonia, right there. We'll keep going, man. I love doing this. I literally do. I guess it's a little close up more of it, but I think that's cool. That was probably one of the least interesting. This is cool, man. This is right there in like Memphis or something where they found this, what's his name? Ramses. They found him in the mud, complete, all intact and all that stuff. It was just, it weighed so many hundreds of tons, they couldn't pick it up. That wasn't it. $38.5 foot. 100 tons in a sunken bed, formerly in a sunken bed. It's so cool. These are all going to be, if you go to my subscriber and become a subscriber, these are the pictures I'm getting ready to upload. These are just, I don't want to say they're just in the public file, but you know, Getty Images, Getty will take these pictures and then stamp Getty all over them and then put their comments in them. And all I did was just take the picture that's in public domain, which I had to get, and then I changed all of the commentary, which wasn't terrible. But thank you so much for being my subscribers, and I think that y'all should be able to get these. As I build these Bibles and these works and we start talking about them, I will use these pictures as well as my Dore pictures. But there's just some cool detail in these. Let's see. Bam. That's it. Yeah, and the trumpet. But you can see this is these people, and it tells a story about them able to climb these. Let me get out of the way. And with their guidance, they could climb up there in like 30 minutes. It's climbing up the pyramid. This one's going to blow your hair back. So this thing's one half covered. And there's a doorway to a graveyard right there. And it says it right there that he sits over the necropolis. Which, no, not that one. Each one. Right, let's zoom in. Massive scale. Guardian over the necropolis. Right there. The Sphinx. So he's the guardian over the necropolis. So that is the entrance to a graveyard, underground graveyard. They have a necropolis underneath the Vatican in Rome. So interesting. I picked that up a little bit. Let me see if I can see it. Microphone. See that? Oh, hamburger pizza. Hot diggity dog, Dad. Hot diggity dog, Dad. I love Dad. I do, Dad. I do. Arlo loves Dad, and he loves everybody on here. He stays on my shoulder. I wish I had some pictures that I could put up there and show you, but Arlo stands on my shoulder all day long.
Oh, he just fell off.
He did. Well, no, he's jumping back behind her. He stays up there a lot. Thank you so much. I love Arlo. Hey, Arlo. Let me go. And he said, oh, I'm not going to kick David yet. I want to finish showing y'all the pictures because I was almost finished. I was doing a good job too. I got right down there towards the end. This, boom. I think this is almost the last one. This is Karnak, and it gives a couple of other names that y'all are going to be more familiar with. Luxor. Karnak, Luxor, and Thebes are all essentially the same names. So that's Luxor. And then this is what's sort of how they found it. And of course, what you see today is, they've got all of that dug out where you can go see it and all now. Pictures. 1890, they took these pictures. Look at it. Structurally, it's been there for thousands of years. But if you're a subscriber, y'all please go do that. There it is. Now, I went through those pictures, and if you're a subscriber of mine, please go lock into that, and I'll start loading these up. I'm going to put the first 7 up of that. And if y'all got any requests, I hope I've been reading the questions and looking. How old do you think there is? I don't get that. Arlo's here. How long do we got? What do you think about the book of Testa? I hadn't read that, and if it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, I hadn't heard of it. I wish you would do a series over the proof found. That would be awesome. The proof found of what? The Dead Sea Scrolls? The Dead Sea Scrolls are, one of the first things that were found. It says in Daniel 12:9, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. So, the Dead Sea Scrolls they literally tell you exactly what's going to happen. And what was in there was the book of Enoch 1, of the Watchers. And I've got that. The things that were in there are the book of Jubilees. And here's the whole, if you go to my bio page and you want the book of Jubilees, it's, 100-something pages. I put all kinds of pictures in it and all. You can go print it. It's free. Book of Enoch 1, that's free. Bio page, link tree. Print them all. They're free. If you want that, this book of Hebrews thing, that's super cool. It's got who's speaking in Hebrews 1, and it's the Psalms are in red. That's a super cool thing to go do. They were asking you to do a series on the evidence discovered from the Scripture that confirmed it. That confirmed what? Bear with me. I'm not able to read a feed. What are the scriptures? The scriptures that confirm what? He doesn't hold on. He stays there the whole time. He literally, I got a picture of him driving. Earlier when they scoffed and were harassing you. I don't worry about those people, man. Those scriptures are all there, and the Bible talks about the river Delta and the Gaion running down and all that stuff, and the Jordan River Valley Rift and all that stuff is there. The earthquakes, that's right where Earthquake Central goes through there. The Dead Sea is like the height of the Empire State Building under the sea level, below sea level. So, I mean, how do you have a flat earth or a ball earth or whatever that where the water's level and that's where the level is, and you got a hole 1,800 feet deep with no water in it, and the Sahara Desert's like 400 or 500 feet below sea level too. I don't know why somebody hadn't dug a little French drain over into that and filled that up and made it a big old sea right there. That'd be cool. Please let's do one on the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is. I said that they took it for sure. They took it. I believe the earth is flat. I believe I could win the argument on both sides of it, but to tell you the truth, I don't know, and nor do you. I hate to break that to you. Yes, I think NASA is deceitful. I do believe in a firmament. It is spoken of, and it's there. I don't think that we've went past that. I know that the things that he says are within it, and it says that they move and follow their course. And if you read the books of Enoch, and if you read the book of Enoch in the very end of it, once he describes the portals and the places that you're sort of resting and sleeping, and it doesn't really have a definable shape. So it sort of left me with what is a realm and what is the shape of a realm. And everybody goes, I don't know what the shape of a realm is. And you're like going, I know. And nobody knows how to make a daggum acorn now. Nobody can create a chicken heart and make it beat on the counter. We can't even make the simplest things in the world. And we're, caught up on how does the whole world operate and spin and what makes the wind blow and all this stuff. And I'm like going, man, we don't even know how to make a blade of grass, dude. So I hate to be... Dang, I don't know, but I don't know how to make a blade of grass. Does that make me dumb? I don't think anybody in this whole platform knows anybody that knows somebody that knows how to make a blade of grass. Nobody knows how to make an acorn, okay? Nobody absolutely knows how to make an acorn. So why in the heck would we sit there and try to figure out what shape the earth is and how it works and what makes the wind blow and what makes the tide move? And you would sound like Job asking God. If you got the chance to meet God, would you ask him that question? Like, what shapes the earth? He'd be like, oh, dang. That's what you got going on? I got all these things out there for you. And, one of those pictures in there, it talks about the cypresses of Lebanon. And Cyprus was what Solomon built the temple out of and then plated it with gold. And it says, don't plate the wood with gold and all this stuff. And I don't know. Trees breathe the opposite that what we do. They live and die just like we do. I mean, you'd call them an alien if you said, hey, something is on this earth that doesn't breathe what we breathe. It breathes this weird gas that would kill us. If we breathe that gas, it would kill us. You can talk about a tree, and it lives and dies. And I'm telling you something. I have flowers and blades of grass, and an acorn multiplies into this, and man, they don't work, and they sing all day, and they get watered and fed, and I don't know, man, they probably got it figured out better than we do. I've never been one to be like a vegetarian, but I was just eating something from Carrabba's, and honestly, the mushrooms were as good as the steak was, so I could eat that. I mean, if it was a mushroom that tastes like that steak, yeah, I'd eat that all day long, and vegan me into Carrabba's all day long with those mushrooms. It's amazing. That's probably how I got this big. Cedar trees, it talks about the cedars of Lebanon, and it talks about in the garden there was a tree you wasn't supposed to touch, and they could eat the fruit of this tree, and they're talking about a tree. And I mean, if you think about it, it was a bad thing in the garden. It's living and breathing. It's a tree. And I don't know, man. Could be the lesser thing. Thank you for your pen. Thank you for everything that y'all do. If y'all don't have any more questions, I can read any request. I've got the book of Gad. People love to hear the things out of the book of Gad. some of these first stories in here is the first vision, the second vision, the Moabite, David, the wise judge. I don't think he's wise at all. The fire angel and the Philistines. That's a cool story. David's covenant, David's sin of counting, David's sermon, King Hiram of Tyre, Psalms 145, Psalms 144, David's death, Tamar, and then the last chapter is the Great Tribulation. But I'll read those if y'all.
Do you see the pinned comment?
I didn't see it.
That
Is the
we're always-
Apocrypha bad? Why isn't it in the Bible anymore? The Apocrypha is not bad. Has it been in there long?
Yeah, but you're seeing the comments before you even see the pinned ones.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't see the pinned one there, so I'm sorry. I sure did. So the Apocrypha, is the Apocrypha bad? Why isn't it in the Bible anymore? The Apocrypha is not bad. It says in 2 Timothy 3:16 that all Scripture is good for teaching and preaching and rebuking. And when you ask about an Old Testament document, if it was to me, if it was in the when you ask about an Old Testament document, if it was to me, if it was in the so I know that they were sealed away. I know the Dead Sea is, vacuumed down 1,800 feet below sea level. And if it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's pretty legit to me. And then the New Testament is just the New Testament. So I believe the apocryphal documents of the Old Testament that are in the Dead Sea Scrolls are legit. When they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found the book of Jubilees, Genesis, Exodus, and Enoch 1, they found in almost that order, but they found more copies of the book of Jubilees than I think Genesis and Exodus, and they found more copies of the book of Enoch than the book of Exodus or something. It wasn't like they were, a couple of stragglers in the corner of the caves. And the book of Enoch 1, just keep it to that. A lot of people go, I got an Ethiopian Bible. It's got all these chapters of Enoch 5, 2 through 5. And Noah, he's got this white hair and this glowing blue eyes. They did all that to discredit Enoch 1 in the early 1900s. And they even knew that the book of Jubilees was starting to get burped back up in the early 1900s. So they sent the Templars down to Ethiopia to grab 3 copies of that. And this dude there's a pinned comment, I got it. What's your deal with David? I never quite understood your point with your videos about. You ask for it, you ask for the David. You ask for David. You know what they say. Thank you so much for bringing that back up. No. All right. We weren't supposed to have a king. Know that. And right here is the scripture in 1 Samuel, which Samuel was a seer, okay, and the book of Samuel the seer, and the book of Gad the seer. They're writing all about David, the new anointed one. This is about Saul, when they're getting ready to go anoint Saul. And just understand that the word Messiah means anointed one, all right? So this is the Messiah that they're going to go anoint a Messiah. That's what that means. So this is Saul, and this is what they say. Let me get my head out of the way. And all the other elders of Israel gathered themselves together. There's things in front of it, so I can't read it. And came to Saul unto Ramah and said to him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now we make, and they were terrible. This is Samuel's sons. They were terrible. He said, You're old. Behold, thou art old, and thy sons not walk in their ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel. Who is he? When they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. Okay. So they asked for a king. This next chart's for you right here. And they said, well, when they first asked for a king, Samuel went and talked to the people and said, I think that's in Samuel 11 through 18. I think it's right there. I can't see it because of the stuff. But when they asked for a king, Samuel went and told God. God told him, he said, this is what God said the king is going to do. And he said, this will be, I can't read it, the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And he will take your daughters to be their confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and he will take your vineyards, and your olive yards, and he will take your tenth of your seed, and your vineyards, and he will take your manservants and your maidservants and your goodliness and your young men, and you shall cry out in the day because y'all chose a king. And I just can't read it because of the comments there. Listen, the people ask for a king, and you say, what is your fixation with David? And the only thing that you're going to say back to me was, David was a man after God's own heart. David was a man after God's own heart. He sure was, and so was Satan. Satan was one of the most cherished angels, and I'm not saying David was Satan or anything to it, but I don't want you to think that a man after God's own heart, because Satan was one of the most cherished angels. But David did, in fact, as king, anointed the Messiah. Boom, just use that Hebrew word now. David, the Messiah, anointed one, goes up to the garrison of the Philistines, which is on Mount Zion, and says, go slay the lame and the blind that are hated of David's soul. What? Dang, bro. These are the lame and the blind that, like Melchizedek, have been given bread and wine, and, Abraham gave a tenth of his spoils, and this is like a good place, and this is the well of Gion, and this is where all the bad people go. It's like a watering hole, and people help them and all this stuff, and David goes there and slays the lame and the blind, and the best thing about it was, it says that he who did not enter through the front door, the same as a robber and a thief. That verse right there, and Jesus said that, and David found out the secret entrance up through Jerusalem, and he snuck in through the fish gate and didn't come in through the front door, and the same as a robber and a thief. And then David had the lame and the blind slayed, and then he built a fortress and a palace on top of Mount Zion. So David lived on top of the mountain of God, and then had a temple and an altar and all that stuff built with his son 110 foot below on Mount Moriah. Now listen, David wrote the Psalms, and anytime Jesus is talking, he's saying, they said, Jesus asked the Pharisees, and he says, who is the Messiah? And they said, oh, that's the son of David. And you're going to go, he is the son of David. It says the root of David. It doesn't say the root of David. It says the son of David. And that actually is Solomon, but the son of David. And if you really want to find out where that verse catches back up to him, is go read the very last chapter of the book of Revelation. The last is about the 6th chapter, verses down, in the last chapter 22, and it says that he is the root and son of David. About the 6th chapter, verses down, in the last chapter 22, and it says that he is the root and son of David. So just know that he came back as that, and that David just, they tell you he's dead and buried in a grave. He slew his own son. Man, David was, he was a Moabite. And if you watch the House of David, they call him a bastard through that thing, through the whole thing. And Saul presented his sons. It says the beast. Let me put something interesting picture there. And it says the beast. Y'all keep watching this about what the king's going to do. And it said that the king would take away his people, and that they rejected God. But, let me lose my point. I'm so aggravated with him. He was a Moabite. Ruth was a Moabite. And one of the chapters in Gad the seer is Ruth the Moabite. And it says in Leviticus, a Moabite shall never enter the temple. Okay, so he was never even supposed to enter the temple. And the temple was supposed to be built on this other piece of, like on the mountain of God. And it's built on Mount Moriah, where Abraham, who we're reading about, went to go sacrifice his son. So hold on. So 1/10 of what you own isn't what the church asked for, tithing. No, man. Those dudes, the first dude that gave a 10th he gave his 10th son. And I mean, they were like committed. They were like going, you're number 10, you're going to sow. And we learned about that, I think, in the chapters. No, it might be coming up. And no, it was actually one of the 10th sons. And then Abraham gave him a 10th of his spoils, and he gave him bread and wine. It was like a watering hole. Jerusalem was Guyon Springs was like a watering hole, and he did that. So that go give me a 10th of your paycheck every week was not for that. It was, and I don't want to get anybody mad at me, but I mean, I don't go to church. I don't give people a 10th of what I do. I don't, I don't get it, man. People fly around in these jets and all this stuff, and give me the one guy who said, shut the doors until I get 40 grand. I went into a church one time, man, and the guy got a step ladder and got out and started taking steps up the ladder and said that the more that I give, the closer I'm going to get to God. And I was just like going, I'm getting up and I'm leaving right now. And I did. I got up and left. I was about 40 years old. And Abraham was a Gentile. No, I don't think so. Abraham was Hebrew, and everybody that's not a Jew, Hebrew, is a Gentile. So it would be everybody else other than the Hebrews or the Jews. If you were not one of them, you were a Gentile. And the Creek Squad. Boom, boom. Y'all shit. Is there a question pinned? So who is his 10th son? Oh, you know what? I'd have to look it up. It was like Jacob or one of those, and he starts this in the next couple of chapters up. I had read it, and he starts petitioning out, and he gives him his 10th son. Do you think Melchizedek created the descendants and the bloodline? I don't think Melchizedek created a bloodline whatsoever. I think Melchizedek is Jesus Christ. Thank you. No beginning of days and no end of days. That's it. Oh, that part in the Bible where David was a Moabite and a bastard and he wasn't loved by his sons and he was the 8th son. It says in the book of Revelation that he is of the 7 but is the 8th. That's in like Revelations 12. And then David was not presented with the original 7 sons of Saul. And then it says in the Bible that Saul presented his 7 sons, and then Samuel came and said there is yet another, and he's out tending the sheep and he got the 8th, and it's almost right matches that where in Revelation 12, where he is not of the 7, but is the 8th. And that's David for me. You think Melchizedek is Jesus? Yeah, I do. He's a priest in the order of Melchizedek. He has no beginning of days, no end of days. That's God. That's that is the priest in the order of Melchizedek. That's Jesus, God. So, yeah, no beginning of days, no end of days, no mother, no father. Who else could that be? You got like another cool guy they got a whole nother book about. It's totally Jesus. And Jesus is God. Jesus told the devil, there's a lot of scripture that point to it, but Jesus told the devil when he was tempting him, he said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. So I just go with exactly the way that it's written. Why isn't April 1st the new year? April 1st is the new year from what I read. I don't know why I put a mask on either to some of the time.
So Melchizedek is Jesus?
Well, Melchizedek is a form of Jesus, and Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek. It says it right there in Hebrews chapter 7. It says Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek.
Well, explain it. First, I don't understand that, how you're saying it.
Okay, well, almost like when Jesus comes in, my wife, she's asking this question, and I love this. Understand that Jesus has always been an eternal presence, and I'm sure he's appeared to many people and has told them. And the priests that are in the order of Melchizedek, when Jesus appeared onto this earth, he was a priest in the order of Melchizedek. So his physical body that he appeared on this earth with, he was a priest in the order of Melchizedek. But to be Melchizedek and for Jesus to turn around and tell the devil, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God," Jesus is God. And Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek. Both of those words are right there in the middle of the Bible. So if Jesus is God, which he told the devil that, and Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek with no beginning of days and no end of days. Okay? So it's almost like the person that is in the shroud of Turin and Jesus, he appeared and he was a priest in the order of Melchizedek. Okay? And then Melchizedek, which is God, no beginning of days or end of days, he descended into the earth and locked the devil away for 2,000 years, ironically, 2,000 years ago. But my wife, buddy, she'd come right in. Her dad was a Pentecostal preacher. And whenever somebody tells you, and you read it in the Bible, and you know that's God speaking in the book of Hebrews. That's the book of Hebrews, God speaking. And when God is speaking in verse, and he says Jesus is an order, a priest in the order of Melchizedek, it's just, it's the bread and the wine thing. Jesus is sitting at the Last Supper with the bread and the wine. Melchizedek gave Abraham bread and the wine. They set bread and the wine in David's mule and sent him off to go fight and to help his brothers. It's always the bread and the wine. So just know that. It's always going to be, Then who did Jesus cry out to from the cross? Jesus Christ cried out the 22nd Psalm when he said, the 22nd Psalm, go read it. The very first words are, my God, why have thou forsaken me? For the dogs encircle me. They pierce my hands. They pierce my feet. They cast lots for my cloak. But Jesus only got to say, my God, why have thou forsaken me? Before all the other priests that were standing around watching the execution went, oh my gosh, he's getting ready to spit out the 22nd Psalm where it goes, we've encircled him and pierced his hands. And we actually just did that. And all of that was written down 1,000 years ago by King David. So just know that he was saying the 22nd Psalm. He wasn't crying out to his father, and his father had to look down in shame on him. That's not what it was. He was saying, you guys don't even know your own scripture? All right, let me read it to you, man. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? For the dogs encircle me. They've pierced my hands. They've pierced my feet. They've cast lots for my cloak. And right in the middle of him getting ready to say that, his last words were, it is finished. But they stuck a sponge in his mouth, and so that he couldn't say anything. So, sorry, that's what was there. That was that pinned comment. And I'll keep going because, like I said, we're off from the book of Jubilees right now, and I can answer these questions. I sure can. Thank you. I'm glad that I gave a good explanation. It's what I've been able to live with. And, a lot of people, I can't pick up 1 Corinthians and look at that. My wife will pin it if it's something. Just know that it talks about in Revelation chapter 20, it talks about the angel descending and he that first arose into heaven. He that first ascended is he that descended first into the lower parts of the earth. Just know that scripture sort of goes right along with Revelation chapter 20, where he says that he descended into the lower parts of the earth and locked away the devil with a great chain for 1,000 years. And thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much. If I get 2 more subscriptions, I get to give away these gifts. And if y'all do that, and I get those 2 more subscriptions, I'll get those pictures on there of the old country and the first 7. I'll get them on there tomorrow for sure. What did I do?
I was just coming to tell you to thank everybody. And the gifts that people are giving, it's so that we rank higher so that you get on the FYP of all all the people out there that's putting crazy stuff out. We're trying to get you ranked up. That's
You'll
the
tell?
whole point. No.
She's telling me about how this gift thing works, and
we're trying to get you ranked higher so that more people see you on the FYP.
She's trying to get me to rank higher, and I'll rank on the FYP. So I need two. Right?
Yes.
Then I need 2 people to do that. And then it's like $5 a piece. So I worked all day on that thing, on them pictures, and put that in there and cut up a good book to do it. But that's sort of like my paycheck. You know, my daddy always said, make a quarter 4 times, and you'll make $1, and I will. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate every one of my subscribers. Go to those comments and read some of the emails that are in there. And let me make sure I don't got this. This is the Jubilee year. I see that. I'm on a fixed income. My wife, she's turned around. She probably can help you out and send a subscription and all that stuff. And I certainly appreciate that. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, you know, with these programs. If anything does happen, go to YouTube. But I don't charge for my things. I have my whole page, all the Book of Enoch and Jubilee. That's all yours for free, man. This is the word. I'm not here charging on it. But as I assemble this book right here with these pages, and I start to put, there's like 50 pages. As I bleed these out, and I did like those 7, and then I'll do 7 more. As I bleed them out, I'm going to let my subscribers and the people that support me, I'm going to let them see that first, and let them get that first, and let them see these scrolls first. And then as I start to teach lessons on them, and these pictures are just amazing, man. That is, they're full size. You can print them out in a great quality, and I would print them out and sit there and read this Saturday about them and this is some great stuff. Thank you so much for all the gifts, and thank you so much for the people that subscribe. One of my other projects that I'm working on right now is Gad the Seer, and I'm trying to get that to you. That will be another free book that I'll put up for all my people, because I don't want to restrict the word by any means. And we love each and every one of you. Thank you for all of your support. There you go. That's my moderators. They are just the sweetest heart. And thank you so much, all of you people, for joining that. I can show you some more of those pictures that I'm going to put on there. They're just super cool. But they had asked me earlier why I was kicking on David so much. You know, David, the people ask for a king, and God said, man, the king is going to take away your sons and your daughters and your appoint them as servants. And the people said, that's cool, man. We still want a king. And Saul was a king, and then David was a king, and then Solomon was a king, and they were all kings for exactly 40 years. And you can do all the weird numbers with 40, like 40 days and 40 nights, or 40 years in the desert, or 40 years of suffering, and then 40 weeks of pregnancy, and it just, there's all kinds of 40s, and they're just a term of birth, the term of transition when you become from a baby to this. My wife taught me that one with 40 weeks, because we got a new grandbaby. I got to know what seed it is. Fruit. I always get my children to tell me what fruit their baby size is, so I can pray for a chia seed or a grape or whatever that baby's size is going to be. Every week they text me. I certainly appreciate it. If y'all got any questions, if y'all want me to read any of this stuff off the back of my shelf, I always do that. I love doing that stuff. And these are the pictures that I'm going to put in that subscriber thing. Some of these are just cool, man. That's when they just found that. And you can see that it says in the writing, there's a necropolis. The necropolis is underneath that. See it right there. Necropolis. The guardian over, that's the cemetery right underneath there. The picture back. But go print that out, and you're going to want to read that. It talks about the 100,000 laborers and 2,300,000 massive limestone blocks and 2.5 tons apiece. and what dynasty it was built for. And then at the very end of it, it tells you about the Maccabean family, which is in one of the Apocrypha. And that is the most beautiful verse in the Bible to me is 1 Corinthians 13:4. 1 Corinthians 13:4. We will see 1 Corinthians 13:4. I'll do it. 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 I have this big old Bible, 1 Corinthians 13:4. Y'all, I should leave that up there. Bear with me. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Let's go. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, not puffed up. I'm going to read that better, and it deserves more. And I have to read things a couple of times, so y'all bear with me. And it's there it is, 13:4. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, and is not puffed up. I like that. Now, let's read the verse above and below, and we'll read through it to add the context. Although I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth itself, not itself, is not puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemingly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoketh, and thinketh no evil. Now, I love that in charity. I tell you what, you give and you shall receive, and that's for sure. I know that a lot of the times whenever I do that, I'll do something for somebody, and then something will happen, and it just like go, man, daggone, that was really cool. And it's if you do something really good in your heart, you do that, and people go, the universe will work back with you. Hey, God sees what you do in secret. Okay, hey, you do that in secret. You see somebody walk up and hand somebody $1,000 on the street, and they get the camera and they're all, look, I gave him $1,000. You know what? I don't believe in all that stuff. Your Father sees what you do in secret. It says to go into your closet and shut the door, for your Father sees what you do in secret. And go do that in the morning and pray, and He sees what you do in secret. And I don't secretly do all these books and all these things. I do them because of Ezekiel 33:3. It says that when I see the sword fall upon the land, I'll blow the trumpet and warn the people. But the one after that says that if I know all this and I don't tell you, then your blood is on my hands. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, now that I know this, I got to tell everybody, or something could happen. It's why I tell you about the things about King David. I'm not sitting there going, hey, go all the way down the road with King David. Just know what? If King David shows up and, there's some weird things about him. But if he shows up in the end times as one of these political figures or something like that, and just ask him, a couple of questions about that Moabite thing and how he got past all of that, and or even like King Solomon, man, I'd like totally ask him and go, did you read the part in the Bible where it said a king should not gather many wives, and I should never return to Egypt, and you shouldn't gather many horses and gather much gold, and yet you have like 22,000 horses, 40 feet buried underground in your Solomon stables. You had 180,000 people working in the mountain. You collected 666 talents of gold, which is 75 pounds per talent. So it's just bunches of money. And then you had 600 wives, 700 wives, and 300 concubines, and you just broke every rule in the house, man. That's so wild. I know it is, man. That, are you going to go live Saturday again? I hope that I do. I don't see why I can't. This is my Sabbath, so I won't be traveling or doing anything. And I got that big Bible. Not that big. I got that big Bible that I made right there, and I started reading that. And I made this Bible, and it's pretty cool. And I made it all out of parchment. It's like 16. You can tell I'm a big guy, but it's huge. And I made it all out of parchment paper, and it's tough. Tough as nails. Tough as nails. And I made that for me. And then this is a Bible that I'm making for somebody right now. And the same thing. They wanted a box. But this is the Bible, and you sort of see it without the cover on it. They wanted a little different cover, but they wanted the strings a little bit longer. And you can see all the binding and the work that goes into these. And then I always put the things, and then once they get bound, I've had to paint them, and this is all hand painted and handmade and hand glued and hand bound. And if anybody ever, the way you break it all down makes so much sense to me. Thank you so much. I'm glad that it does. When you start reading in the Bible, some of the things that they sort of took away from us, like in this Bible has the book of Maccabees, and it talks about them building pyramids and all right outside of Jerusalem, 7 of them. They're still there. You can go on Google Earth and read them. That Bible that weighs 12 pounds, I made it when I printed it in size 12 font so that you can see it, I can see it. But if you're like, it's like a preacher's Bible, man. It would be something you could set on a podium and back up a couple of feet from, and you can still see it. And there's no pictures or gimmicks in that one, man. That's nothing but meat right there. And do you make any of the videos on how you made the Bible? I do. I'll start playing them again. I just got that my phone back. I had like 139,000 pictures on this phone, and it locked up. And so I just went and bought another one. And I just found it, but it has all me hand making the Bibles. I printed them right there on that printer. And then I print them all hand, and like I make those scrolls. That's the Jubilee. No, that scroll right there is the book of Enoch, Enoch 1. Oh. Enoch scroll taken by angels. And angels took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were like flaming fire. And when they wished, they appeared as men. I think that is just I like this. This is a cool Bible. This is just, I glued that cross on it just for thing, but this is just big old leather. Boom. Boom. This is the hand-me-down. This will be here for a million years. This thing's thick and no fanciness to it. Don't need it. This thing right here. Do not like this Bible. I'm not a big fan of this one. A lot of people think there's so many facts in there. It's not, man. It's all this. You open it. I'll do like this right here. You open these hinges. And it's all metal hinges. Right? I'll show you right here. You can see where's the all-seeing eye? Right there. And then there's Christ. And then that's the thing that's right outside of New York where you go ice skating and all that stuff. This is Mary standing on the moon, or the earth at her feet. All this stuff. I hate this Bible. It smells. It doesn't smell now, but it did when I first got it. But like the first thing that it goes to is there's the Holy Bible, and it's a picture of the Pope. Leo, and Leo's the dude that had the dragon, man. Pope Leo is the one that had the dragon. Hallelujah. Hey, you know what, man? That old Hebrew Bible where it says his face was over the murmuring deep, this is a old Hebrew Bible. And it's just the Old Testament. But if you open it like a normal book like this right here, you're at the back of it. This was upside down. Yeah, you'd be at the back of it. So I know the camera's reversed, but you have to open the book. This is opening a book backwards. And then right there it says that these are the first 5 books of the Bible. Look at the first page. It says Genesis. I'm going to get this translator pen to work. I need to charge it. Right here, Genesis 1, man, this is just... First off, it's side by side. So Genesis is in Hebrew, which I bought this so that I could sort of practice reading it. And I can go to sort of sound my way through it, but it's just, And then this is Genesis next to it. But see in the middle how they put the 1, 2, they're just side by side so that you know what you're reading in English as opposed to Hebrew. But you can read that right there about the murmuring deep. See it? I know it's backwards. I'll read it to you. Sorry. There's not a reverse feature on live. At least I haven't seen it. If there is a reverse feature on live, tell me where it is. In the beginning, God created the heaven. Let's see if there's somebody put that up there. I was going to say, I'll go get that now. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. But the earth was desolate and void, and darkness was upon the face of the murmuring deep. And a spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. There's so many things. We just went down that Melchizedek hole. And then there's at the beginning of the world when it says, let us make them in our image. And, when did the fallen angels first deceive mankind? And when did they make those? I want one of those pins. This thing was on my, I wish it would turn on. It's so cool. It just turned on. Hang on, let's see if it shuts off. It wasn't expensive either. It was like $20. Of course, everything's, $20 until they get hit with that tariff. It'd probably be $200 in a little bit. But it literally reads every language. And if it'll come on, you just touch scan and wipe it over. And when you wipe it over that verse where it says the murmuring deep, scan online. No. I'm gonna try scanning offline. All right, we're gonna try scanning offline. Turn this microphone is moving this one. Y'all with me? All right, let's do it. No, what? Turn the book around or something? Right there. And you push the buttons. No. Oh. I had to read in Chinese. I'm sorry. Hebrew. Oh, you know what it is? I got to go set it up online. I'm sorry. It won't read Hebrew unless I set it up online. It took the verse, the murmuring deep, and it started talking about like who was murmuring. And if when you read that verse and his face was above the murmuring deep, like that's who's murmuring. Let us make them in our image. And what was in the abyss, his face was over the waters. And if you understand that in the very last chapter of the Bible, the next to the last chapter of the Bible, it says in the end, there is no more earth, for the earth was no more, and there was no more sea. So, the waters where the horse sitteth are peoples and nations and tongues. Scan online. Hold on, man. I might get it. Bear with me. I want y'all to hear this. You got me. I'm old, man. Nah, I can't do it. It's killing me. Can you mod append a question to all-seeing the eye of his Bible, please? Can a mod pin the question about the all-seeing eye on the Bible? What do you want me to pin a question on about the all-seeing eye on this Bible? That Bible is sort of weird. I'll show it to you again if you want me to. I think it's an AI portal all thing. No, I just got this out of the box when I was getting my stuff, and it's telling me to put in my...
No, they're wondering why you have a Bible with the all-seeing eye on it.
Oh, that says I bought this Bible. It's a Catholic Bible. People were asking me if I Catholic. It's a Catholic Bible right there. And that one is a Catholic Bible.
They're wondering why there's an all-seeing eye on it.
Yeah, I can tell you there's a bunch of weird stuff on this Bible. The Catholics are the ones that moved the date from Saturday to Sunday. So as I honor the Sabbath on a Saturday, the Catholic, Roman Catholic Church moved the honorable Sabbath to the venerable day of sun. They did that. Constantine did that in like 325. So they did that. And then the Catholics moved April 1st as the new year to January 1st, and they named it the January after the god Janus, and which could look back into the last year and forward into the new year. And anybody that thought that it was still in April's was a fool. So that's the Catholics for you, and this is one of their Bibles. I bought it because I wanted to see some of their stuff, and the first thing in here is Mary and the Pope, and we went over this Bible on Saturday, and I read through some of the things, how they just, it's just not, the Catholics were told, do not build stairs up to an altar. They did it. It says, do not take a tool and put it upon the stone or you have polluted the altar. Smooth as my grandbaby's butt. That says, don't cover thy head. Totally doing that. The Jewish people that don't believe in Jesus, they totally got that going on. It says, thou shalt not build an idol to thyself. And the Pope literally built like a 40-foot tall idol to himself. It looks just like the Pope in Poland. So he's... Constantine, he gave all of the endowment of Rome. He gave all of Rome, the known world, to the church and made all of the senators and all that stuff, made them all like cardinals and all that stuff. And then he moved to Istanbul, which is Constantinople. There's that. Right there. Let's see that one. So this is that thing right there at the top. That's too much. Anyway, I'll pull those out Saturday. And what time do you go live Saturday? I don't know. I sort of get the vibration and get up. I'll do my Sabbath thing. But we were on for almost 3 hours last Saturday. So I'll wake up and I wake up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But I'll let the house get up and make sure everything's rolling good, make me some biscuits or something like that, and I'll go live Saturday. And I'll get those things loaded up for my subscribers, and I'll get that loaded up tomorrow for sure. And I think we hit our goal for the subscribers, so thank you so much. I'll put those pictures on there. I'll get them tomorrow, and I'll put a lock code, and I'll show you where the code is and all. I certainly enjoyed last Saturday too. It was super cool. With the witching hour is that's the watch. At 3 o'clock in the morning is not a witching hour. That's when the watch was. That's when the things happen. If you get called at 3 o'clock in the morning, you need to get up and say, here I am. And sorry, there ain't no witching, nothing going on there. That's when the first watch is. Who is the correct Christ, Jesus or Yeshua? John 19:19 says that his name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and it was written in 3 languages. A lot of people say Yeshua. You can say what you want to. It's written in the Bible. Actual name means sent from God. And I think that's what you really taught and called people what they were. Like the word David, his name wasn't David. Like my grandson's name is David. David meant beloved. And he was also anointed, so that meant that he was the Messiah, because that's what anointed, that's what Messiah means. Yes, these are Catholic Bibles. I don't like, not mine is, this one that I made, they're not. This is a Wycliffe and a Dowie and Reims, and it has all the Apocrypha and all that stuff. John Wycliffe, the Catholic Church, they took him out while he was giving a speech. No, they put all their money in their little cover and all that stuff because they want that book to sit there and be pretty. And I don't think much about the cover of the Word. It's the least important thing to me. That one's just got a piece of leather wrapped around it, and the other one's got a piece of lambskin wrapped around it. Gracie is watching. Hey, Gracie! Gracie Pooh, that's my granddaughter, Grace. And then Jamie, she's my daughter. She's such a sweetheart. I love you, Gracie Pooh. And I love them. How much to make me a Bible? That one right there with that custom cover on it and all that stuff, I think that was about $500. But it's got 12 pounds of parchment paper in it. Literally, the materials and all cost me several $100s. And then I hand make everything that I make by hand. So it's sort of like a piece of art. The one thing that I will be doing with this one that I've got to add to it is all of those pictures, I'm going to put them in that new Bible. So it has all the military records, family trees, husband and wife, birth, child, all of these things. And then it's got all the maps. That Bible, cool. It's got all the maps out of this 1839 Bible. This thing's so old. Look at this. My dad's name on it. This is a Prince James. You see it? It's a Prince James Version Bible. And then I went in the back of it and took all the maps out, and then I took pictures of them, and they're in my Bible, in that big Bible. And I'll show you one right here, man. This is maps don't lie. Here, this is the city of David, and that says the tomb of David right there. And you can see the palace, the tomb of David, and then the temple. You see it? And then they moved, Constantine moved the tomb of David, and in this picture, it is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So somehow the tomb of David magically transitions into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and totally busted out in these maps. And you can't change a map. This book's from 1839. So, what's been digitally held by China, which they do, man. They hold... they print the most Bibles. If you saw my TikTok before this my nice Bible is printed in China. And I'm going to make an American-made Bible. How do I order one? I tell you what, if you'll send me a message, I will get with you and speak with you, and I'll make the cover, and I'll make it exactly the way that you want, and I will hand make you a Bible. And like I said, it'll set us back about $500, but I literally, just the printer cartridges, because I don't have a big printing thing and all. It's 12 pounds of parchment paper, and it's wrapped in lambskin, and it's just a piece of meat, man. You could throw the thing across the room and you would never tear it up. It's just the weight. My dad said if you're gonna put something together, put it together right. You see that? It's just so bound, and I hand painted all this stuff. So But each page is like a 24-pound parchment paper. And I don't buy it in bulk, so, those are huge, expensive costs and probably getting ready to triple with the tariffs and all that stuff. But what do you think of Solomon? Piece of work, a piece of work. Solomon broke every rule that you could break, man. I mean, systematically. His advisors had to be going, what are you doing, dude? Like, do you even read the Bible? Like it said, don't go to Egypt. It said, don't go gather many horses and don't do this and don't do that. And Solomon was like, yeah, can you put them in order so I can just totally wipe them out? But that's one of the things. What do you think of Solomon? I don't think too much of Solomon, to tell you the truth. They didn't think much of his temple. Jesus didn't say, hey, save that little piece right there, tear all that down, but the Wailing Wall or something like that. He said, destroy this whole thing. What is the best Bible in plain English that they all had to understand? What is the best Bible in plain English? They are all hard to understand in Old English. I think the Amplified Bible is the closest thing to one of those old Bibles, the way that it reads. And understand that those are not translations, those are versions. So what I'm showing you, those big books, those are translations, and a ton of people have made versions of those translations. So like King James, he made a version of that Doe translation. So he didn't change the words and he didn't translate the words. He just said, Billy skipped down the street, and then he said Billy ran down the street or something like that, slowly. And it's just a different way of saying it. And in the Amplified version of the Bible, you can sort of see that it's a little bit more winded. Let me get the one that's... I love the way the Amplified reads. And it reads more, and the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. And as it keeps talking, it talks a little bit more with that, not with for art thou, who for art thou language. So Amplified is more current with an old flair to it. All right. I will not invite Paul. I love you. Because Solomon was given wisdom from God. Solomon asked for wisdom, and he was granted wisdom smarter than the kings of the East. So know that he was given wisdom in judgment, and he was not given all the wisdom in the world, and he was not the smartest guy in the world. He was smarter than the kings of the East, which are a bunch of jacklegs, and there with all the people in Egypt. So if he would have been the super smartest guy in the world, he wouldn't have ever returned to Egypt, which the books of the Bible say. He would have never gathered many horses unto himself, which he had 22,000 horses. He would have never gathered much gold unto himself, which he had gathered 666 talents of gold. He would have never gathered all the wives and all the stuff. He broke all the rules, man. So it's not like he was super smart. He was a double-barrel jackwagon, and he was smarter than the kings of the East. That's it. The study guide for the Bible and the link tree helps you understand the message. Gets well, Cave, you said it right. If you go to my bio page and click on my link tree, and then you can download the study guide 12, and it looks like this. I'll show you. We just ended up reading. That's that study guide 12. Jubilee, chapter 12. And then we just read through Abraham and his destroying his father's idols and all that. Right? So, who is Prince James? Prince James was Prince of Scotland and King in England simultaneously. So while he was prince of one and king in the other, vice versa, there were some of the versions released while he was prince of one and king in the other. This Bible, particular Bible, that one my father gave, had his name on it, and when he passed away, and I scratched his name off of it. And I made it mine when I was a little kid. Did that when I was a little kid. All right. Anything on the bloodline lineage where we can find where we're from? And probably all coming from the Noah thing, since most of that got squashed prior to Noah, and then you could link up from there. But, Ham got sent to the south, Japheth got sent to the north, and Shem got the land in the middle. I don't know how, and they all got mixed up, man. I mean, when they started mixing and all that stuff and warring amongst themselves and fighting amongst themselves, they were all destined to lose. All right. That's what I think. Yeah, it is Noah. And I mean, there were the sirens that met with the women that met with the fallen angels, and all of them are like in the sea. The fallen angels doesn't talk about when they got killed or anything. They were still, that's who Moses' spy saw. They made them look like grasshoppers. Can I still get married? What happened? Let's see if you get married. My kids will get married. Can I still get married to the love of my life without having anything extravagant? I sort of look at it, me and Jill, we got married the first time that we, but anyway, that's what the Bible says. It doesn't say you have to have a ceremony and all that stuff. And you're like married when you do that. Can I get married without having any extravagant baby? Yeah, you sure can. I bet. I don't know. People want to see that. They want to register you and pay taxes on it and all that stuff, man. They didn't sign no marriage certificate or any of that stuff.
We are married, though. We just got married once prior to that when we lived together.
We're married. We got married in a ceremony. Her daddy married me. But before that, we believed that we married the minute that we
did a ceremony with
and we did, me and her did that, and we married ourselves, and then we got legitimately married in a ceremony, invited our friends and did all that stuff. But I researched the rule books and all that stuff, and I gave her dad a dowry, remember? And I did all the things that they did in the Bible. All right, the fallen angels are bound. Some of them are bound, and a bunch of them have been released. And that's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, I have been on long enough, and I'm going to put this on YouTube tomorrow. I will load up chapter 13 on. I'll load up chapter 13 for next week. Y'all are just going to trip out on that. That is such a great. Wait, right here. He starts going into. Oh, there it is, right there, man. And the oil trees and the cedars and the cypresses and all this stuff. This is Abraham leaves Haran and goes into Canaan. So he's going to be walking right past all that stuff right there. I'm sorry. There's that right there. Fallen angels about. I love y'all. Let me see if I got that. Catching up. Used to be a Cobra. What's your YouTube channel? It is probably the Trumpet Ezekiel 333, something like that. But if you go to my link tree on my bio page, and it's one of my links right there, you can click on my YouTube. And my link tree is all on my YouTube. And I put all of these, so there's 12 of them up there. Thousands of people have watched it. And I also read the book of Enoch 1. I read that on my YouTube. So this Saturday during your Sabbath, which, go gather you Friday, go gather you some bread and some wine and all that stuff. And on Saturday, sit down and listen to the book of Enoch 1 and print it off and read right along with it. What apps do you use to make your videos? I make every bit of my videos right here in this thing right here and with this phone. My son, he made a video today of him flying a drone around over one of the roofs that we did. I'm a roofer. I do roofing. And I put the roof on the Orlando International Airport. If you ever fly into Orlando International Airport, if you walk under a building that you're getting on a plane, I put the roof on your head. And if you go to school or live in Brevard County, I put the roof on like 69 of those schools in Brevard County when I was a roofer. I did big flat roofs. I've been up on top of the vertical assembly building. And this past Monday, man, they had a pre-bid on Astronaut High School right there off of 95, and that thing was 1,600 squares. I did it in 1999, and it was 26 years old. And yeah, I use the TikTok app. I do. But anyway, it's a 26-year-old roof. It's supposed to last 20 years. I love you. I'm going to sign off, and I'll probably be back on here Saturday, and you'll see my work again. So I love y'all so much. Please come back next time and join me. Let me touch this.